Or even I always escape her name, but there's also a Mexican director that is heavily inspired by David Lynch. I think she did Hide and Seek. And then the director that did Tigers Are Not Afraid. That's
Issa
another
Lopez.
Yeah, Issa Lopez. There you go. That
Mhm,
I mean, like you watch that movie and you're like, oh, I know what movies you saw to get to here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I really Lynch is like honestly like my North Star, and a lot of people. I mean, when I saw your guys' post, I'm like, yeah, I'm a mess. I'm supposed to read 100 pages tonight, and I can't even get past one without breaking down.
What's your go-to David Lynch recommendation for
Like
people?
for people, if
So
you've
the
never
way-
seen a David Lynch movie, where would you?
okay. So
like
I
your
have the order. You should
recommendation?
watch them. Yeah. So
Okay.
Elephant Man, Straight Story, Wild at Heart, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks, the series 1 and 2, Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks, Missing Pieces, Twin Peaks, The Return, and then end it all with Inland Empire. Mulholland Drive has been his most successful. It was the one that he was nominated for the Oscar for.
Right,
Wild at Heart
right.
and Mulholland Drive both won the Plum Door. He was such a quirky guy. Oh, and then Eraserhead. You might want to watch Eraserhead before you go
Eraserhead.
into Twin Peaks. Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that. I built a friendship that is celebrating 26 years this year because we would go home after I got off my job at retail and we would watch Lost Highway and make candy for the rave we were going to that weekend and, listen to Depeche Mode in the car. He was such a quirky guy. He was like my weirdo director, but he was everybody's weirdo.
Uh-huh.
But he also had a way of like making electricity sound loud, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
And then Blue Velvet. Yeah.
Things we want to recommend to listeners. This does not need to be horror based. It can be whatever, something you're watching, listening, reading, whatever. Like for me, I'll go first. For me, I want to recommend, I've really been getting into, if you have Apple TV, I'm late to the party, but I've really been getting into the show Bad Sisters, which is kind of this dark comedy of like, it's set in Ireland. It's these 5 Irish sisters. The premise is that like one of them has this piece of crap husband and the other 4 essentially off him. And so, and I'm not giving anything away by telling you that, like, that is that's where we start. And then the whole story is like, can they get away with it? Like what happens in the unfolding of this? But it's rooted around these 5 Irish sisters. And it's really interesting. I'm liking it so far. So that's my recommendation. Fedele, did you have?
One of my Yeah, so I enjoy that show too. One of my friends was the sister with the eye patch. I always forget her name. She was her for Halloween, and that's how I got introduced to that show. Because I was just like, "Why are you dressed up like Cura de Lobo?" She's like,
Who are
"What?"
you?
I was like, "I'm like, oh wait, I forgot you don't speak Spanish. You don't know Cura de Lobo, so why a woman in an eye patch would like scare the living shit out of you?" So yeah,
Yes.
that is a good show. So I recommend that. I am actually in the middle of January Giallo before David Lynch passed away, and I've just been watching his movies over and over again. But I would recommend to look up a Mario Bava movie or a Dario G. Argento movie. Suspiria is my favorite. It's considered the last and final Giallo. Or Filomena. Watch those because it is. I love Suspiria for 2 reasons. One, it's a creepy ballet gothic movie, and number 2, it was the last movie ever made on Technicolor film, and they used the palette of Snow White. Yeah. So, and then for books, I recommend if you want to light read The Wedding People. This is before I got married. I read it in the fall. Just a cute little ladies fiction. You could like 200, 300 pages. You can read it, and it's just about a person going to a wedding reception and all the drama that comes around with it. And as someone who was always the guest, never the bride until recently, it's just a cute little fun book to just I like to cycle through books, so I already have my next little fun book. And then also just reach out to your local bookstores. There is plenty of Latinx authors releasing a lot of horror this year, and just turn off the news. Stay informed, definitely, but like don't obsess over it. Like just
No.
we just yeah.
Ronnie, what did you have? What did you want to recommend?
This is the middle grade book that I did pick up as a kind of palate cleanser to be a little bit more light and fluffy. Not that middle grade books can't deal with heavy, serious topics. They can, but this one, Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston is.
I feel like
I've heard some adult booktubers that really enjoyed this book. So
I'll have to look. I feel like my oldest might have.
He likes to read.
Yeah, I feel like he might have. Is it a series?
I believe it's a trilogy, and I think
Okay,
the third book's already out.
I feel like he might have something. That cover looks like elements of that cover look familiar to me.
Thank you again. I appreciate you guys. When you guys were like, "Do you want to do another book club episode?" I'm like, "Yes." I really enjoy these. Witches was a fun one. I read that when I was actually in Chicago. It was a
Yeah.
really good time. Congratulations on 40 episodes. Holy shit. Wow.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank
congratulations.
Oh, it's always a blast to have you.
Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production hosted by me, Valerie, and Veronica. Editing by me. Music by Omar Chakor. Production support for this episode provided by Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street. Listen to new episodes of Don't Watch at Night every other Monday, and don't forget to give us a rate and review. It's the best way to help us grow.